All right, this is the next topic. It's the history of money. We're going to try to keep this one down to 10 minutes like most of the other ones. I think I ran over on one of my podcasts by about 3 minutes. Disclaimer is I am not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. If you want to get any kind of legal advice, I would strongly suggest that you seek legal counsel in regards to making any decisions. I'm just giving you my experiences in this, also my research, and also things that I have been through when I've done workshops and seminars on this topic. So let's kind of jump in, talk about the history of money. So let me kind of break down real quick because there's a lot of stuff that I can do, and I'm not going to do a part two, three. So let me go in real quick. A lot of people don't understand at all about money. People understand how important money is. You need money to pay your bills. You need money basically for your lifestyle, for your home, your car if you have one, for you being able to pay for your utilities, for you to be able to even go to your job. It takes gas if you have a car. There's it just basically it covers a lot of things that you need on an everyday basis. I heard one person say that money is rates just as high as oxygen. You need both, So I definitely want to make sure that we kind of go through so you understand. There's a lot of misconceptions about money, and people don't understand that everyone comes into the world basically without an opinion about money, but the people that you were raised by, your church community, your friends, your family, have basically given you a financial blueprint on how you actually look at money. And so I won't go too heavy into that, but we all do get a financial blueprint by the influences that we have in our life. I may try to hit that right at the end just a little bit, but I want to give you more so of the overall aspect of money. So if you go back in the day, they basically did not have paper money. They had gold and silver. And so people would actually travel with gold and silver, and they would trade gold and silver for goods and services. It's just basically something that's a means for an exchange. So they did that, but then they noticed that the gold and silver was heavy to carry around, this, that, and the other. So some person came up with a great idea that we could actually create a note. And a note was basically saying that we have gold and silver for this amount being held in a bank or in some storage area, and this paper was like a note or a guarantee that that gold and silver was there to back up that money. And so people thought it was a great idea to have the paper because it was a lot lighter than carrying around a bunch of gold and silver. Sorry about the noise. And they wanted to go with this system. So fast forwarding it, the person who was holding people's gold and silver would charge interest, and that's how banks made money because they would lend that out and all the good stuff. Now, never was really a problem because the way money was initially set up is you have to have the same amount of gold and silver for the amount of money that you carried it with you. So if you had $100, you had to have $100 worth of gold and silver being held in a reserve or some storage, or AKA nowadays a bank. And so you couldn't print money without having something to back what you were giving out. And so there was never a problem with that system, right? And so back in the day, you can go back and research this on your own, but there was a thing that was called fiat money. Okay, and so what the banker wanted to do was he's like, man, I want to make more interest off being in the middle of these transactions. So what he did was the fiat money basically disconnected the gold and the silver from the actual dollar. And so what they did was they printed more paper, but they had less gold and silver being held in reserve. And what that did was it allowed the middleman to actually lend more money out, more paper out, even though he didn't have enough money in gold and silver or resources in gold and silver to back it up. And so if you ever study the history of this, you will notice that about 100 years, 70 to about 100 years will go by, and you'll notice that that whole system will always crumble. You'll see other countries that have actually used this fiat money system, and it never works because at the end of the day, whatever you have in reserve, gold and silver, it should always be connected to the money that you're printing. Okay? and any system, they all start out great. They flourish when they start putting this money in circulation, but down the road, this hyperinflation, this overprinting of money always causes problems in regards to the economy. It implodes. And so what happened was Nixon, Richard Nixon got in office, and again, you can research this stuff on your own, but he was the president that actually allowed the gold to be taken out, allow money to be taken off the gold standard. And what that meant was he opened the floodgates for our dollar to be printed without gold and silver backing it, like it was back in the day with those economies that in the past actually imploded. And so by doing that, he did that I think in the 70s. And then you start seeing now that we got this hyperinflation. We're printing money, we're printing money. You can go back. I've done research on this to see what gas prices was in the 70s, to see what groceries were in the 70s. And I know things go up, but have you ever taken the price of something from 1970 to today and actually take the price of what it was then, take the price of what it is today, subtract those, and then divide whatever that is by what it was back then? It'll give you a percentage. I may have to put that out in a formula within the software, but you'll see those percentages are far higher than what they tell us the natural inflation rate is. They'll tell us the inflation is about 3 to 4% a year, cost of living increases, that kind of stuff. But you can see because of this rapid printing of money that inflation is actually going a lot faster than the cost of living increases we see on our jobs. And that's the reason why people are working 2 or 3 jobs, because we don't have money that's being backed by gold and silver, which is causing hyperinflation. And people, you probably listen to me now like, what is he talking about? Just follow me. Okay, follow me. So that's where the printing of the money increased because of Nixon, and it's not because it's not being backed by gold and silver. So fast forward to today, you see, of course, prices of things moving, inflation going up and all that stuff. But what does that mean? Okay, well, now you're starting to see, you've seen the rise and fall of the stock market and all that stuff. Great. But now what you're starting to see is a devaluation of the dollar, because people feel like the United States economy is not strong enough to support the amount of money that we're printing. Now, GDP, which stands for Gross Domestic Product, that's people's consumers' confidence in uh, our country's ability to pay back our debts. Well, if you pay attention to what's going on with our deficit, that thing just continues to go up and up and up and up and up. And what are we doing? Just printing money, printing money, printing money, printing money. Well, had we printed money that was backed by gold and silver, you wouldn't print any more than what you had. So it's like writing a check. I'm not going to write a check unless I've got the money in the bank to cover the check. Well, we're printing money, but we don't have enough in reserve to actually back up what we're printing. And so what's happening with the deficit is just escalating, escalating, escalating. And people don't understand this, but we actually have interest that's on that deficit. And we're actually in a position where we're having a tough time even making the interest payments, let alone the principal. And so what's going on with the history of the money right now is you see a lot of people that are now looking at going back to their original gold standard. You see gold prices skyrocketing. You see people buying silver because they're like, this paper stuff is not working. I would rather go back to the original resource, which is gold and silver, that I know that it's going to be backed. It's something that's tangible that will back up what I'm investing in. And so keep your eye out on that, and also pay attention to what's going on with them continuously printing money. I can go a whole lot deeper, but I don't want to go way over your head. So that's pretty much the history of money. I do want to throw 2 last aspects at you. Um, One that people need to pay attention to, and Robert Kiyosaki is talking about in his predictions for 2016 about the stock market. And again, get professional advice before you make any decisions. I'm just giving you opinions, research, and facts from things that I've looked at. But the stock market right now for 2016 is getting ready to experience what is called the first group of baby boomers that have to take their required minimum distributions. And what that means is once you hit 70 and a half years of age, you are now forced to actually take money out of your retirement accounts because the investments that people put money in were tax deferred, not tax free. And so you're going to actually start seeing these baby boomers, this great big group of people, now being forced by the government to take money out because Uncle Sam wants the taxes on that money that was deferred. And those people that are taking out are actually going to be taken out of the market more than those people that are putting in. And you're going to really see a lot of problems in that regards. Um, so just keep your eye on that. And when you keep your eye on that, look at your investment mix and make sure that the things that you're investing in are actually things that have solid backing, be it gold and silver, or be it that you buy um, mutual funds that are properly diversified, or whatever you're doing on that. Just keep your eye open to the different companies that you are investing in, and kind of what they're doing as far as their cash. If I'm investing in your company, you're a debt-free company, or how are your financials? Just kind of pay more attention to that. And the last thing I want to talk about, when I talked about nobody was born with a financial blueprint, um, you get again your blueprint financially from your influences, your mother, your father, your family members, your church community, possibly teachers. But the thing that you really want to understand as far as your financial blueprint is, what is your financial blueprint set for? You go to school, to go to college, to get a job, and you want to get a job so you can make income. And the income is supposed to actually help you to actually fund or pay for your ideal lifestyle. And so a lot of kids or adults really don't have a clue of really the lifestyle that they want to live. They know they want to enjoy themselves, but a lot of times people get their check and they pay their bills, and if they got some extra, they blow that on whatever they want to do, and they really don't have a plan. And so what I'm trying to do is just get you educated on the fact that you really need to kind of have a plan of how you manage your financial blueprint. Do you have a blueprint to pay 10% to a charity, or to give it back to your local church, or what have you? Do you take 10% and pay yourself? The other 10%, do you use that to actually pay, to actually invest in your own personal education? So we try to teach a 10, 10, 10, 70 formula. 10% goes to, again, local church or charity. 10% goes into savings that you don't touch. The other 10% goes into your own personal development, so you can get certified in your area of that you got your degree in. You can go to read books, you can go to seminars or classes. You can enhance or increase your skill set so you can actually have more opportunities to grow and take advantage and get increases in your actual pay. And then you should build your lifestyle off of the 70%. So that's pretty much it. I just want you to understand fiat money. A lot of people don't understand what that is. It's basically when you've got money that's being disconnected from gold and silver, and that's where you're going to actually start seeing a lot of issues going from 2016 going forward. So keep your eye out on that Robert Kiyosaki book. Research the gold standard, research Nixon, taking us off the gold standard. Just do your own homework, but I just want to bring some of that information to your attention. Have a great day.